All right, so get this. You're looking to travel the world in 2025, but like without totally breaking the bank.
Smart move.
Right. And guess what? We've got a deep dive ready for you based on the Budget Traveler podcast episode called 2025's Top 10 Cheapest Countries to Travel.
I love that episode.
Yeah, it's a good one. And we're going to uncover some hidden gems and maybe even some jaw-dropping prices. Like, I was really surprised by some of these, so get ready.
Yeah, what often surprises people is just how much variety is out there when it comes to budget travel. Because people think, budget travel, you're just, like you said, stuck with ramen noodles and hostels.
Right, exactly.
But these countries offer such unique experiences at prices that, like you said, might make you double take.
Totally. Okay, so first up is Vietnam.
Love it.
Yeah, and I'm already picturing like bustling markets and delicious street food and... Wait, did they say 50-cent beers?
Yep.
You had me at pho, but that's like next level.
It's true.
But what makes Vietnam so budget-friendly in the first place?
Well, it's a combination of factors. So the cost of living is generally lower, and the tourism infrastructure is really well developed, and it caters to all kinds of budgets.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Vietnam has this incredible entrepreneurial spirit. Like, you'll find locals offering everything from, homestays to street food.
Oh, cool.
Which creates a really competitive market, which of course keeps those prices down.
So it's not just about being cheap. It's about getting like huge value for your money.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold.
Good.
Tell me more about these experiences that won't break the bank.
Okay, so let's take Ha Long Bay, for example.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, everyone knows the iconic boat tours, right?
Right, yeah.
But imagine kayaking through those hidden coves and among those limestone islands.
Like, that sounds awesome.
It's a fraction of the price, and you get this way more intimate experience with nature.
See, now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I love finding those kind of like off the beaten path gems.
Right.
What about Cambodia? I've always dreamt of seeing Angkor Wat. Yeah, is that even possible on a budget though?
Absolutely. Cambodia is like a backpacker's paradise.
So awesome.
Of course, Angkor Wat is a must-see. And the sunrise tour for $37 is pretty unbeatable.
That's not bad.
No, but here's a little secret. Koh Rang Island.
Okay.
You think like pristine beaches, crystal clear waters, and basic bungalows for like under $20 a night.
What?
It's like stepping back in time to a more laid-back and affordable era.
Okay, that sounds incredible. I'm already picturing myself like swinging in a hammock, sipping on a fresh coconut.
Right.
But hold on, let's not forget about the food.
Of course.
What kind of like culinary adventures can we have in Cambodia without overspending?
Oh, the food is phenomenal and so affordable.
Oh, good.
Think fragrant curries, fresh spring rolls bursting with flavor, and street food that's both delicious and safe.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, my personal favorite is Amak.
What's that?
It's this creamy fish curry, and it's cooked in banana leaves. You can find it at local eateries for around $3.
$3 for a delicious, authentic meal. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting dangerous. I'm already planning my itinerary in my head.
I know.
Next up, Indonesia.
Right.
It's not just Bali, right?
Yeah, right.
What other islands can we explore without maxing out our credit cards?
Well, Bali is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Lombok is just a short boat ride away, and it offers incredible beaches, waterfalls, a more laid-back vibe. And here's a tip. Look for homestays in the local villages.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you'll get a truly authentic experience. You'll interact with locals and likely pay a fraction of what you would for a hotel.
I love that you're emphasizing the cultural immersion aspect because it's not just about saving money.
Right.
It's about having those meaningful experiences.
Right, exactly.
All right. What about those beachside bungalows you mentioned earlier? Are those a real thing in Indonesia?
Oh, they're definitely real.
Okay.
And they can be surprisingly affordable. Imagine waking up to the sound of waves crashing on the shore, stepping out onto your private balcony, and all for $15 a night.
Okay, come on.
It's the kind of experience that redefines luxury.
I need to book a flight right now. But seriously, this is eye-opening. It's like you're shattering the myth that you need a fortune to travel the world. All right, what's next on our list of budget-friendly paradises?
Let's head to Laos.
Laos, okay.
A country that often gets overlooked, which is a shame because it's a true gem. Imagine pristine jungles, cascading waterfalls, ancient temples, all without the crowds, and inflated prices of some of its neighbors.
I've always been intrigued by Laos, but I've heard it can be tricky to get around. Is that a concern for budget travelers?
Not at all.
Okay.
So while Laos might not have the extensive train networks of some other countries, local buses are a cheap and efficient way to travel between cities.
Okay.
And plus, the slower pace of travel in Laos actually adds to the charm.
I can see that.
You can take your time, soak up the scenery, and truly connect with the local culture.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's about embracing a different style of travel, one that's more about the journey than the destination. Now, I'm curious about specific experiences. What kind of budget-friendly adventures can we have in Laos?
Well, one of my all-time favorite experiences was visiting the Kwangsi Falls.
Okay.
Picture turquoise waters cascading down tiers of limestone surrounded by lush jungles. The entrance fee is less than $3, and it's an absolute paradise.
Wow.
You can swim in the cool, refreshing pools, hike to the top for panoramic views, or just relax and soak up the natural beauty. It's a perfect example of how Laos offers incredible value for money.
Wow, those waterfalls sound incredible. And such a steal. Okay, this is officially going on my bucket list.
Good.
But let's be real. No budget travel conversation is complete without talking about India.
True.
I know it's a vast and diverse country,
Right.
but is it truly possible to experience India without spending a fortune?
Absolutely.
Okay.
India is a masterclass in budget travel. The key is to embrace the local way of life.
Okay.
Eat at local eateries, take public transportation, and stay in budget-friendly guest houses. You'll be amazed at how far your money can stretch.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some specific examples. What kind of budget-friendly meals can we expect in India?
Oh, the food is one of the best parts of traveling in India, and it's incredibly affordable. Imagine savoring a plate of steaming momos.
Momos?
Yeah, those delicious dumplings filled with vegetables or meat for less than $1.
Wow.
Or indulging in a creamy, flavorful curry at a local dhaba for just a couple of bucks. It's a culinary adventure that won't break the bank.
Okay, my stomach is rumbling just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, what about iconic landmarks like the Taj Mahal? Surely those are out of reach for budget travelers, right?
Not at all.
Right.
The Taj Mahal is surprisingly affordable with entrance fees under $15.
That's amazing.
And here's a pro tip. Go early in the morning to beat the crowds and capture those iconic photos in the soft morning light.
Wow, I love that tip. Okay, so we've got amazing food, iconic landmarks, and all on a budget. What else does India have in store for us?
Well, one of the most magical experiences you can have in India is taking a train journey. It's not just a mode of transportation, it's a cultural immersion experience.
Oh, cool.
You'll meet people from all walks of life, share stories, and witness the diverse landscapes of India unfold before your eyes.
I love that.
And the best part is train tickets are incredibly affordable, especially if you opt for sleeper class.
You know, I've always been a bit intimidated by the thought of traveling by train in India, but you're making it sound so appealing. I love the idea of connecting with locals and experiencing the country at a slower pace. Okay, India is definitely moving up my list, but let's keep exploring what other budget-friendly destinations are waiting to be discovered.
Well, if you're looking for adventure on a budget, Nepal is calling your name.
Nepal. Okay.
It's a trekker's paradise, but it's also incredibly affordable for those who just want to soak up the Himalayan views. You can find basic guest houses for under $10 a night. Enjoy hearty meals at local tea houses for a few dollars, and even hire a guide for a multi-day trek without breaking the bank.
Okay, Nepal sounds like a dream come true for nature lovers and adventure seekers. Those Himalayan views must be breathtaking. But let's shift gears a bit and head to South America. I always wanted to explore that continent, but I've heard it can be quite expensive. Are there any budget-friendly options in South America?
Absolutely. Bolivia often gets overlooked, but it's actually the cheapest country in South America. And it's packed with incredible experiences. Imagine exploring the surreal landscapes of the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, or venturing into the Amazon rainforest for a wildlife adventure. It's all possible on a budget in Bolivia.
Wait, did you say the Amazon rainforest on a budget?
You heard right.
That sounds almost too good to be true. How is that even possible?
Well, Bolivia has a developing tourism infrastructure, which means prices are generally lower than in more established destinations.
Okay.
And there's a growing ecotourism scene, which offers affordable ways to experience the rainforest responsibly.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can find jungle lodges for under $30 a night, hire local guides for jungle treks, and even take boat trips down the Amazon River without spending a fortune.
That's incredible. I love that we're highlighting destinations that are both budget-friendly and sustainable. It's about finding that sweet spot where you can explore the world responsibly without breaking the bank. Okay, what other hidden gems are waiting to be uncovered in South America?
Let's head north to Colombia, a country that's been experiencing a tourism boom in recent years. But don't worry, it's still incredibly affordable, especially if you venture beyond the well-trodden tourist paths. You can find charming colonial cities with budget-friendly accommodation, vibrant nightlife, and delicious street food that won't empty your wallet.
Okay, I'm sold. Colombia is officially on my radar now, but let's hop across the Atlantic and explore some budget-friendly options in Europe. Is it even possible to travel Europe without spending a fortune?
Absolutely. Eastern Europe in particular offers incredible value for money. Countries like Bulgaria, Romania, and Hungary have stunning architecture, rich history, and delicious cuisine, all at prices that are a fraction of what you'd find in Western Europe.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some specific examples of budget-friendly experiences we can have in Eastern Europe?
Well, one of my favorite hidden gems is Budapest, the capital of Hungary.
Budapest.
It's known for its thermal baths, which are a must-do experience.
Thermal baths, I love those.
You can soak in the healing waters for as little as $10, and it's a great way to relax and rejuvenate.
Thermal baths for $10. That's amazing. I'm already picturing myself soaking in those warm, mineral-rich waters surrounded by stunning architecture. But what about food? Is it possible to eat well in Eastern Europe without breaking the bank?
Absolutely. Eastern European cuisine is hearty, flavorful, and incredibly affordable. Think goulash pierogi and schnitzel, all washed down with local beer or wine.
Oh, man.
You can find delicious meals at local restaurants for under $10, and street food is even cheaper.
Okay. I'm officially adding Eastern Europe to my travel bucket list. But let's not forget about Western Europe. Are there any affordable options in that part of the continent?
You know, people often assume that Western Europe is off limits for budget travelers, but that's not entirely true.
Okay.
There are hidden gems to be found even in countries like France and Italy. It just requires a bit more planning and research.
Okay. I'm all ears. What are your insider tips for finding those budget-friendly experiences in Western Europe?
One of my best tips is to look for smaller towns and villages off the beaten path.
Okay.
They often have more affordable accommodation options, authentic local experiences, and a more laid-back vibe.
That's a great tip. I love the idea of escaping the crowds and discovering those hidden gems. But what about food? Surely eating out in Western Europe is going to blow our budget, right?
Not necessarily. One of my favorite ways to save money on food in Western Europe is to embrace the picnic culture. Yeah, head to a local market, pick up some fresh bread, cheese, fruit, and wine, and find a scenic spot to enjoy your feast. It's a delicious and affordable way to experience the local flavors.
That's such a great idea. I love the simplicity of it, and it's a great way to connect with local culture. Okay. I'm feeling inspired to explore Western Europe on a budget.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our final continent, Africa. Is it possible to experience the magic of Africa without breaking the bank?
Absolutely. Africa is a vast and diverse continent with incredible budget-friendly options. Countries like Morocco, Tanzania, and South Africa offer stunning landscapes, wildlife encounters, and cultural experiences that are surprisingly affordable.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some specific examples of budget-friendly adventures we can have in Africa?
Well, one of my favorite experiences was trekking through the Atlas Mountains in Morocco.
Oh, wow.
You can hire a local guide for a few days, stay in traditional Berber villages, and experience the stunning beauty of the mountains without spending a fortune.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I love the idea of immersing myself in the local culture and experiencing the natural beauty of Morocco. But what about wildlife encounters? Those are usually quite expensive, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Tanzania offers incredible wildlife viewing opportunities at a fraction of the cost of other safari destinations.
Really?
You can find budget-friendly safari tours that will take you to national parks like the Serengeti and Ngorongoro Crater, where you can witness the Great Migration and see the Big Five in their natural habitat.
Okay. That's officially going on my bucket list. The Great Migration in Tanzania. Sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But let's be realistic, traveling to Africa still requires a significant investment, right?
Well, it's important to remember that Africa is a vast continent, and prices can vary greatly depending on the country and the type of experience you're looking for. But with careful planning and research, you can definitely find affordable options.
Okay, that's reassuring. I'm feeling inspired to start planning my African adventure. But before we move on, let's recap what we've learned so far. We've explored budget-friendly destinations all around the world, from Southeast Asia to South America, Europe, and Africa. We've discovered that it's possible to experience the magic of travel without breaking the bank. and that there are hidden gems to be found in every corner of the globe.
Exactly. And remember, budget travel is all about being creative, resourceful, and open to new experiences. It's about embracing the local way of life, connecting with people from different cultures, and creating memories that will last a lifetime.
Well said, and I think that's a great place to wrap up part 1 of our deep dive into budget travel. In part 2, we'll delve deeper into specific strategies and tips for making the most of your travel budget. We'll explore everything from finding affordable flights and accommodation to navigating local transportation, savoring delicious cuisine without overspending, and staying safe and connected while on the road.
Get ready to unlock the secrets of budget travel and turn your travel dreams into reality.
We'll see you next time. Welcome back, adventurers. In part 1, we explored some incredibly budget-friendly destinations around the world, from Southeast Asia to South America, Europe, and Africa. We learned that it's possible to experience the magic of travel without emptying your bank account. And now let's shift gears and delve into some specific strategies and tips for making the most of your travel budget.
Yeah, it's all about being savvy and resourceful. We'll uncover those hidden tricks that can turn your travel dreams into a reality, without the financial stress.
Right, exactly. So let's start with flights, often the biggest expense. What are your insider tips for snagging those deals?
What's interesting is that a lot of people overthink finding cheap flights.
Okay.
It's not always about scouring these obscure websites. Sometimes it's as simple as being flexible with your dates.
Okay.
So for example, flying midweek, like a Tuesday or Wednesday, can often save you a significant amount compared to weekend flights.
Oh, that's a good point. I've heard about that, but I always assumed it was a myth.
It's true. It works.
What about budget airlines? Are they worth the risk?
Budget airlines can be a fantastic option, especially for shorter flights.
Okay.
The key is to understand their fee structure.
Right.
Yes, they often have additional charges for baggage or seat selection, but if you pack light and you don't mind where you sit, you can score some incredibly cheap fares. I once flew from London to Spain for less than $20.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we've got our flights sorted. Now let's talk about accommodation. We've seen some incredible prices for hostels and budget hotels in these destinations, but how do we make sure we're getting the best value for our money?
One of the biggest mistakes travelers make is limiting themselves to traditional hotels.
Okay.
Think outside-the-box guest houses, homestays, and even dorm rooms can be fantastic options, especially if you're traveling solo or in a small group.
Okay.
You'll get a more authentic experience and interact with locals and often pay a fraction of the price.
I love that you're emphasizing the cultural immersion aspect. Again, it's not just about saving money, it's about having those richer experiences.
Right.
What about online booking platforms? Any tips for navigating those?
Here's a tip that saved me countless times. Don't just rely on those big-name booking sites.
Okay.
Sometimes you can find better deals by contacting the accommodation directly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, smaller guest houses or homestays might not be listed on those platforms, but they're often willing to offer discounts, especially if you're staying for a longer period.
Ah, that makes sense. It's about cutting out the middleman and going straight to the source. Okay, so we've covered flights and accommodation now. Let's talk about food. We've seen some ridiculously affordable prices for street food in local restaurants in these destinations. But how do we navigate the culinary scene without overspending?
Food is such an integral part of travel.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be expensive in many of these countries. Street food is not only delicious, but incredibly safe and affordable.
Okay, good.
Embrace it. Ask locals for recommendations. Look for stalls with long lines and be adventurous. You might discover your new favorite dish for just a few dollars.
I completely agree. Some of my most memorable culinary experiences have been from street food stalls. Do you have any tips for choosing safe and reputable vendors? I know food safety can be a concern for some travelers.
That's a great question. Here are a few things to look out for. First, observe the hygiene practices of the vendor. Are they using clean utensils and gloves?
Right.
Second, check for a steady flow of customers. A busy stall usually indicates fresh food and high turnover.
Makes sense.
And lastly, trust your gut. If something doesn't look or smell right, move on.
Those are great tips. I'm definitely feeling more confident about venturing into the world of street food. Now, what about restaurants? Any strategies for eating out without blowing our budget?
One of my favorite tips is to eat like a local.
Okay.
Look for restaurants that are frequented by locals rather than tourists.
Right.
They tend to be more authentic, more affordable, and often offer larger portions. And don't be afraid to ask for recommendations from locals. They'll know the best hidden gems.
That's such great advice. I love the idea of venturing off the beaten path and discovering those local favorites. But let's move on to transportation. How can we get around these countries without spending a fortune?
Public transportation is your best friend in most of these destinations.
Okay.
Buses and trains are incredibly affordable and often quite efficient. And don't underestimate the power of walking.
Oh, yeah?
It's a fantastic way to explore a new city, get some exercise, and soak up the local atmosphere.
I love exploring cities on foot. You stumble upon so many unexpected sights and sounds that way, but what about longer distances? Are there any budget-friendly options for traveling between cities or regions?
Absolutely. Overnight buses and trains can be a fantastic way to save money on accommodation and transportation.
Oh, that's smart.
You can travel while you sleep and wake up in a new destination. Just make sure to do your research and book reputable companies with comfortable seats or beds.
That's a great tip. I've heard great things about overnight trains in Europe especially. But let's talk about something that can be a bit of a gray area. Bargaining, is it expected in these destinations? And how do we do it respectfully and effectively?
Bargaining is definitely a part of the culture in many of these countries, especially at markets and when hiring taxis or tuk-tuks.
Right.
The key is to approach it with a smile and a sense of humor.
Okay.
Start by offering about half of the asking price and be prepared to walk away if you're not comfortable with the final price.
Okay.
Remember, it's a negotiation, not a confrontation.
Okay. That's helpful. I've always been a bit hesitant about bargaining, but I'm starting to see it as a fun challenge. Now, let's talk about activities and experiences. Budget travel doesn't mean missing out on the fun stuff. What are some tips for experiencing the best of these destinations without overspending?
One of my favorite strategies is to seek out free activities.
Free, that's my favorite price.
Many cities offer free walking tours, free museum days, free concerts and parks, and so much more. Do your research and take advantage of these opportunities. You'll be amazed at how much you can experience without spending a dime.
I love that I'm all about finding those free gems. What about paid activities? Any tips for getting the most bang for our buck?
Here's a tip. Consider purchasing a city pass if you plan on visiting multiple attractions. They often offer discounts and skip-the-line access, which can save you both time and money. And remember to research local discounts for students, seniors, or families.
Those are great tips. I'm feeling empowered to plan an action-packed itinerary without breaking the bank. But let's talk about something that's essential for any traveler staying safe and connected. What are your top tips for staying safe and connected while on a budget?
Safety should always be a top priority regardless of your budget.
Right, of course.
Be aware of your surroundings, keep your valuables secure, and avoid walking alone at night in unfamiliar areas. It's also a good idea to share your itinerary with someone back home and check in regularly.
Those are all great points.
Yeah.
What about staying connected? Is it possible to stay online without racking up expensive roaming charges?
Absolutely. Purchasing a local SIM card upon arrival is often the cheapest way to stay connected. You can get data and call rates that are much more affordable than your home plan, and don't forget about Wi-Fi.
Right.
Most hotels, cafes, and restaurants offer free Wi-Fi so you can stay connected, research destinations, and book activities without using your data.
That's great advice. I always feel more at ease knowing I can access maps, translation apps, and emergency contacts if needed. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this episode, from finding cheap flights and accommodation to navigating local transportation, eating well on a budget, and staying safe and connected. Do you have any final words of wisdom for aspiring budget travelers?
Remember, budget travel is not about deprivation. It's about being mindful, resourceful, and open to new experiences. It's about embracing the local way of life, connecting with people from different cultures, and creating memories that will last a lifetime.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into budget travel in part 3. We'll explore the cultural nuances and hidden gems of these destinations, uncovering those unique experiences that make each place truly special.
Get ready for an adventure that will ignite your senses and expand your horizons.
Welcome back, fellow explorers. We've uncovered some incredible budget-friendly destinations and learned some really savvy travel strategies, but now let's immerse ourselves in the heart of these countries, like exploring those cultural nuances and hidden gems that truly make a trip memorable.
You know what I find fascinating is that budget travel often opens doors to more authentic experiences.
I agree.
Because you're not confined to those tourist bubbles. You're out there interacting with locals, trying new things, and getting a real taste of the culture.
Totally. It's about getting off the beaten path and discovering the soul of a place. Okay, so let's start with Vietnam. Beyond those iconic sites, what kind of cultural experiences should we seek out?
One thing that blew me away in Vietnam was the traditional water puppetry.
Water puppetry, okay.
Yeah, imagine a stage set on a pond with these intricately carved wooden puppets, and they're performing scenes from Vietnamese folklore and history.
Wow.
It's mesmerizing, and you can find these shows in Hanoi and other cities for just a few dollars.
That sounds incredible. I love how those art forms offer a glimpse into the history and traditions of a place.
What about spiritual experiences? I'm always drawn to temples and sacred sites when I travel. Are there any that are particularly special in Vietnam?
Oh, absolutely. Vietnam has a rich spiritual heritage with countless pagodas and temples scattered throughout the country.
Wow.
But one that stands out is the Perfume Pagoda. It's nestled in a stunning mountain range near Hanoi, and the journey there is an adventure in itself. It involves a boat ride and a hike through lush forests.
Okay.
But once you reach the pagoda, you're rewarded with breathtaking views and a real sense of tranquility.
Wow, that sounds like a truly immersive experience. Okay, I'm adding that to my list. But let's not forget about the food. We talked about how affordable Vietnamese cuisine is, but what are some must-try dishes beyond the classic pho? Oh, the food in Vietnam is like a sensory explosion beyond pho. You have to try bun cha.
Bun cha.
Yeah. It's a Hanoi specialty featuring grilled pork and vermicelli noodles dipped in a flavorful broth. It's the kind of dish that makes you close your eyes and savor every bite.
That sounds so good.
And for something truly unique, head to Hoi An and try khao lao.
Khao lao.
Yeah, khao lao. It's a noodle dish with this really unique blend of flavors and textures that reflects the city's trading history.
Interesting.
It's said that the water used to make the noodles comes from an ancient well and is essential to the dish's distinct taste.
Okay, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Those culinary adventures are definitely calling my name. All right, let's move on to Cambodia. Beyond the majestic Angkor Wat, what hidden gems are waiting to be uncovered?
You know, one of my favorite places in Cambodia is Battambang.
Battambang.
Yeah, it's a charming town in the northwest.
Okay.
And it's known for its colonial architecture, traditional crafts, and a unique mode of transportation. The bamboo train.
The bamboo train, what is that?
So imagine like a rickety platform on wheels.
Okay.
Powered by a small engine taking you on a bumpy but exhilarating ride through the countryside.
Oh, wow.
It's a true adventure and a glimpse into local life.
The bamboo train? That sounds incredible. I love those offbeat experiences that you wouldn't find in like a typical guidebook. What about cultural interactions? I'm always eager to connect with locals and learn about their way of life. Any tips for respectfully engaging with the Cambodian people?
Cambodians are incredibly warm and welcoming, and one thing that goes a long way is learning a few basic Khmer phrases.
Okay.
Even a simple hello or thank you can bring a smile to someone's face and really open up those opportunities for connection.
That's a good tip.
Also remember that Cambodia has been through a lot in recent history, so be mindful of that and approach conversations with sensitivity and respect.
Those are great tips. It's so important to be aware of the cultural context and history of a place. Okay, let's hop over to Indonesia. We know Bali is a paradise, but what other islands offer those off-the-beaten-path experiences we're looking for?
One island that's been stealing my heart lately is Flores.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem with dramatic volcanic landscapes, traditional villages, and incredible diving and snorkeling opportunities. One of the most unforgettable experiences you can have there is visiting Kelamutu National Park.
Right.
It's home to 3 crater lakes that change color due to volcanic activity.
Color-changing crater lakes. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm adding Flores to my list, but
Yeah.
what about those cultural immersion experiences we were talking about? What are some ways to connect with the local culture in Indonesia?
Well, Indonesia is like a tapestry of cultures and traditions, and one way to truly immerse yourself is to attend a traditional dance performance.
Okay.
The Legong dance in Bali, for example, is a graceful and elaborate spectacle with intricate movements and vibrant costumes.
Oh, cool.
It's a captivating glimpse into Balinese art and storytelling.
That sounds mesmerizing. I can already picture those graceful movements and colorful costumes, but let's not forget about the food. We talked about how affordable Indonesian cuisine is, but what are some dishes that we absolutely have to try?
Oh, the food in Indonesia is a culinary adventure. One of my all-time favorite dishes is rendang.
Rendang.
Yeah, it's a rich and flavorful beef stew that's slow-cooked in coconut milk and spices.
Okay.
It's incredibly tender and aromatic, and you can find it throughout Indonesia. And for something that truly reflects the diversity of Indonesian cuisine, try nasi campur.
Nasi campur.
Yeah, it's a mixed rice dish with a variety of side dishes, from satay and tempeh to vegetables and sambal.
That sounds like a lot of food.
It's a feast for the senses and a great way to sample a bit of everything.
Okay, I'm drooling just thinking about it. That culinary journey is definitely calling my name. All right, let's move on to Laos. It's known for its tranquility and natural beauty.
Yeah.
But what kind of cultural experiences should we seek out there?
Laos has a deeply spiritual culture, and one of the most beautiful expressions of that is the daily almsgiving ceremony in Luang Prabang.
I've heard of that.
Every morning, monks walk through the streets collecting offerings of food from locals. It's a serene and moving ritual that really connects the monastic and lay communities.
That sounds incredibly peaceful and insightful. I can imagine the sense of reverence and community that surrounds that tradition. But what about those who are seeking adventure? Is there anything in Laos for the adrenaline junkies out there?
Oh, absolutely. Vang Vieng is a popular spot for adventure activities.
Okay.
You can go tubing down the Namsong River surrounded by stunning karst scenery, or explore the many caves and lagoons in the area. It's a great way to experience the natural beauty of Laos while getting your heart pumping.
Tubing down a river in Laos. That sounds like an unforgettable adventure. Okay, now it's time to talk about India. It's a country that overwhelms the senses, but in the best possible way. Beyond the iconic sights, what are some cultural experiences we shouldn't miss?
India is a land of festivals, and one of the most vibrant and colorful is Holi, the Festival of Colors.
Holi, okay.
Imagine streets filled with people throwing colored powder and water at each other, celebrating the arrival of spring and the triumph of good over evil.
That's awesome.
It's a joyful and chaotic experience that truly immerses you in Indian culture.
Holi sounds like an absolute blast. I love how festivals offer a glimpse into the heart and soul of a culture. But what about those seeking a more spiritual experience? India is known for its diverse religious traditions. Are there any specific sites that are particularly powerful or moving?
Varanasi on the banks of the Ganges River is one of the holiest cities in Hinduism.
Right.
It's a place where life and death intertwine and where pilgrims come to bathe in the sacred waters and perform rituals. It's an intense and confronting experience, but also incredibly moving and insightful.
Varanasi sounds like a truly unique and profound experience. Okay, let's move on to Nepal. It's a trekker's paradise, but what are some cultural experiences we can have beyond those breathtaking mountain trails?
Nepal has a rich Buddhist heritage, and one of the most iconic sites is the Buddhanath Stupa in Kathmandu.
Okay.
It's one of the largest spherical stupas in the world, and its white dome and watchful eyes of the Buddha are a symbol of peace and enlightenment.
I love that.
You can circumambulate the stupa with pilgrims spinning prayer wheels and soaking up the spiritual atmosphere.
That sounds incredibly peaceful and inspiring.
Yeah.
I can imagine the sense of serenity that surrounds that ancient site. But let's not forget about the food. What are some must-try dishes in Nepal?
One of my favorite Nepali dishes is momo,
Momo, okay.
which are steamed dumplings filled with meat or vegetables. They're served with a spicy dipping sauce and are a delicious and affordable snack or light meal. And for a hearty and flavorful meal, try dal pat.
Dal pat.
Yeah, it's a lentil soup served with rice and vegetables. It's a staple dish in Nepal and a great way to experience local flavors.
Okay, those sound delicious. I'm making a note to try both of those. Now let's shift gears and head to South America. Bolivia is a land of contrasts with stunning landscapes and vibrant indigenous cultures beyond the salt flats and the Amazon tea. What are some cultural experiences we shouldn't miss?
One of the most unique experiences you can have in Bolivia is visiting the floating islands of Uros on Lake Titicaca.
Floating islands, did I hear that?
You heard right, these islands are made entirely of reeds.
Reeds, wow.
And are home to the Uros people who have preserved their traditional way of life for centuries. It's a fascinating glimpse into a culture that's deeply connected to nature.
Wow, floating islands made of reeds. That sounds incredible. It's amazing how people have adapted to living in such unique environments. But what about those seeking a taste of Bolivian city life? Are there any cities that offer a blend of culture and affordability?
La Paz, the highest capital city in the world, is a vibrant and chaotic city with a mix of indigenous and Spanish influences.
Okay.
You can explore the bustling markets, wander through the historic streets, and ride the cable car system, Mi Teleférico, for stunning views of the city and the surrounding Andes Mountains.
La Paz sounds like a city that's full of surprises. I'm adding that to my list. But let's move on to Georgia, a country that's quickly gaining popularity as a budget-friendly destination beyond those stunning Caucasus Mountains. What kind of cultural experiences should we seek out?
Georgia has a rich winemaking tradition dating back thousands of years, and one of the best ways to experience this is to visit a local winery and participate in a traditional Georgian supra.
The Supra, okay.
Yeah, it's a feast that involves copious amounts of wine, food, and toasts. It's a truly immersive and unforgettable experience.
A Georgian Supra, that sounds right up my alley. I love how food and drink can bring people together and create lasting memories, but what about those who are seeking a bit more adventure? Are there any activities that combine cultural exploration with, like, adrenaline-pumping thrills.
Absolutely. Hiking in the Svaneti region of Georgia is an incredible adventure.
Svaneti, okay.
Yeah, you can trek through stunning mountain scenery, visit ancient villages with defensive towers, and experience the warmth and hospitality of the Svanem people. It's a truly off-the-beaten-path experience that will stay with you long after you leave.
Wow, hiking in the Svaneti region sounds like an epic adventure. Okay, let's move on to Albania, a country that's often overlooked but full of surprises beyond those pristine beaches. What kind of cultural experiences await?
Albania has a fascinating history influenced by a mix of cultures, including Illyrian Greek, Roman Ottoman, and Italian. One of the best ways to experience this is to visit the ancient city of Butrint.
Butrint, okay.
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site that showcases the architectural legacy of these civilizations. It's a journey through time.
Wow.
And you can wander through the ruins of ancient theaters, temples, and public baths, imagining life in those bygone eras.
Butrint sounds like a history lover's dream. I love how ancient ruins transport you to another time and place. But what about for those who are seeking a taste of modern Albanian culture? Are there any cities that offer a blend of history and contemporary life?
Tirana, the capital of Albania, is a city that's undergoing a transformation.
Okay.
You can explore the colorful buildings, visit the trendy cafes and bars, and experience the vibrant nightlife. And for a glimpse into Albania's communist past, you can visit Bunk Art 1 and 2, former nuclear bunkers that have been transformed into museums and art spaces.
Bunkers turned into museums. That's so unique.
Oh.
Okay. Tirana is officially on my list, but we can't wrap up this cultural exploration without talking about Turkey, a country that bridges east and west and is brimming with history, culture, and incredible food beyond Istanbul. What are some must-see destinations?
One of my favorite places in Turkey is Cappadocia.
Cappadocia, okay.
A region known for its surreal landscapes of fairy chimneys, underground cities, and hot air balloon rides.
I've seen pictures. It's beautiful.
You can explore the ancient cave churches and monasteries, hike through the valleys, and take a hot air balloon ride at sunrise for breathtaking views.
Cappadocia sounds like a place straight out of a dream. Those fairy chimneys and hot air balloons are definitely calling my name. But what about those who are seeking a taste of ancient history? Turkey has a rich past, with empires rising and falling over centuries. Are there any particular sites that transport you back in time?
Ephesus, an ancient Greek city that was once a major Roman port, is a must-see for history buffs.
Okay.
You can wander through the well-preserved ruins of temples, theaters, and libraries, imagining life in this once thriving city, and for something truly unique, visit the Library of Celsus.
Okay.
A magnificent structure with an ornate facade that was once home to thousands of scrolls.
Ephesus sounds incredible. I love how those ancient sites offer a glimpse into the past and spark our imaginations. But before we wrap up this episode, I have one final question for you. We've explored so many incredible destinations, but what is it about budget travel that makes these experiences so special?
You know, budget travel, it kind of strips away the layers of luxury and comfort and forces you to engage with the world in a more authentic way.
I can see that.
You're more reliant on locals, you're more open to those serendipitous encounters, and more appreciative of the simple things. It's a humbling and enriching experience that can truly change your perspective on life.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into budget travel. We've explored incredible destinations, uncovered savvy travel strategies, and immersed ourselves in the heart of these countries. We've learned that it's possible to experience the magic of travel without breaking the bank, and that there are hidden gems to be found in every corner of the globe. So embrace the adventure, savor the moments, and discover the magic that awaits you in the world.
Happy travels.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time.